Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here. Daphne, also standing in the street with me as the recording of this, Monday, May 23rd, 2022. We were here 9 or 10 months ago, almost a year ago. Where are we?
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, we're gonna do the tour.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a different tour than we did last year.
Yeah.
Explain exactly what we're gonna be doing.
It's gonna be an old Hollywood tour. Oh my gosh, it's brand new. And it's just specific old Hollywood around here. I'm so excited.
I am interested to see what they're going to show that they don't usually show on the regular tour.
I'm so excited.
Casablanca is definitely the one that they always show, but hopefully they show some other stuff other than Casablanca.
I hope so. Oh my gosh, I just want to see like where Betty Davis walked so badly.
That would be awesome. Gonna get on a golf cart. They're gonna drive us around. I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I don't know
Spoiler
either.
free on this whole thing, but I do have a piping hot caffeinated beverage. You have
Mine's
not a
chilled.
coffee. You have a chilled beverage, and the Animaniacs water tower is behind us. All right, let's get in there. I'm inviting you to join me and Daphne.
Shall you?
Now, many years ago, the tour check-in was right over here at this building, but in the last 2 years, give or take, they have created this building, Hollywood Made Here. See Chris Reeves up there, Michael Keaton. We're not going to be touching on any of that today. Supposedly, this is all about classic Hollywood. Warner Brothers Studio Tour.
Golden hair.
Hollywood, the golden era, that's a good way to describe it. And as we walk in, there's a kind of a photo op with a mural with Bugs Bunny and the water tower painted on the wall and all that. And because we were doing the smaller of the group tours, walked in, we kind of got into the room that has the scale model version of the water tower and the sound stages and all that beforehand. And there was a few classic items kind of scattered around before checking in to go on the tour itself. And one thing that was interesting, one of the notebooks with the addresses that one of the Warners had Cecil B. DeMille's address in it and Walt Disney's contact in it. Pretty neat seeing that. And it just had some of the productions that they did here on the walls, you know, kind of catering to the classic era as well. And then from here, showed our tickets that purchased in advance and was about to go onto the golf cart for the tour. But I really like the little pre-area. Kind of a neat little setup in here.
We're going to check out the backlots first. We're going to be together for about an hour. We'll check out the backlots where they do most of the outside filming. Then we're going to head into the front lot where all the sound stages are. I'll take you guys into a sound stage so you can kind of see what they look like in there. And then I'm going to drop you guys off at a place called Stage 48, which is a self-guided museum where you guys can see a lot of like cool costumes. A couple of our backlots over here. So what's kind of cool about Warner Brothers guys versus like, you know, Universal, for example, is we don't have a theme park. So everything you see around you is used for filming. So even like our office buildings can easily be used for production. So like this building to the left is an office building that's kind of cleverly designed to look like a motel or like an apartment. So you can easily use it for filming. Most of our backlots, we just use the exteriors. Most of the interiors are used for like storage. So New York Street is actually the first backlot that the Warner Brothers had built when they built the lot. If you guys weren't aware, there were 4 brothers. There was Harry, Albert, Sam, and then Jack. And their last name is actually Wanskalazer. So we could have been the Wanskalazer Brothers Studio. We drive by that a lot today, and I like to joke that Wanskalazer probably would not have fit on the water tower, right? Exactly, yeah, we have a bigger water tower. Alright, so we got New York to the right and then Chicago to the left. So Chicago, ooh, yeah, Chicago is an extension of New York that was built for ER. So this is a pretty new addition. So that's supposed to be the L train right there, yeah. It looks, I've never been there. I have seen pictures of the real L, and yeah, it looks pretty good. When they built it, it looked brand new, so they added like fake rust to it. But now it's starting to rust for real because it's been here for so long, yeah. So this is New York Street. Yeah, I'm going to find us a place to park. Let's actually go a little further here. So yeah, the Warner Brothers bought this lot in 1928. Before it was Warner Brothers, it was called First National Pictures. So it was a silent movie studio for a few years. They moved in 1928. There's a kind of small backlot over here called Brownstone Street that's being used for an event.
This was Humphrey Bogart's apartment and the Maltese Falcon inside. Yeah, the Maltese Falcon. The exterior and then a little bit of the interior. And these are the doors kind of going out. These gold doors. Looking at it from the front, there's these like gold doors and a very unique architecture of this building that's very, very noticeable. Never realized the Maltese Falcon used this exterior.
And one of the earliest titles they used it for was a movie called Babyface with Barbara Stanwyck.
Oh.
And in that movie, it was a bank called Gotham Bank, and then it became the Gotham Police Station for the Adam West Batman show.
Yeah.
So if you go back and watch episodes of the show, it's kind of funny because they only filmed Batman and Robin going up the stairs once, and they just reused it every episode.
Oh, wow.
And they actually got their stunt doubles to run up the stairs for them. So it's not Adam West and Kurt Ward, it's their stunt doubles running up those 7 steps. In the 1960s, I guess that was considered a stunt. Pretty dangerous. So yeah, let's head over to the courthouse. If you guys want, we can go over to our fake Central Park over here. Right now it's all decked out for Friends, because that was a show, you know, set in New York, but they never actually filmed in New York.
Now it's not exactly classic, but I will kind of mention that he was stating this was used for the Night Court, the old sitcom from the, I think, the 80s. John Larroquette.
Central Park thing, yeah. So over to the left, guys, this is called Embassy Court. So this is ideally supposed to look like the embassy for another country. So what they'll do is they'll just put up a flag for whatever country it's supposed to be. It's very easy to see. Exactly, very versatile building, yeah.
I can just picture Batman running up and down there. Yeah, they moved this over from the Warner Ranch because the Warner Ranch is going to be torn down. So they moved the iconic Friends fountain from over there to over here, and they did the Friends reunion. That's not really classic so much, but you know, he's showing some other stuff as well.
Well, the building behind with like the blue top and then the white pillars,
yeah,
that was Josie's Market from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those Taylor Josie's Market.
So Gilmore Girls use this whole area over here.
Yeah, and Pretty Little Liars.
Pretty Little Liars, Monster Squad, Dukes of Hazzard. Hopefully they show some Dukes of Hazzard stuff. And if we're allowed to go over here, I think over in the corner was the station from Rebel Without a Cause. I'm hoping to get kind of looking forward to that. James Dean. The Batman steps. Look at this. I'm up to Batman steps. Look at that. I just went up to Batman steps. What the heck? Amazing. What does it look like in here? Oh yeah, just a facade. Look, both sides. And that's what the top of it looks like there. Wow. There's different tours too. So this is like the regular tour. The tour we're on is the classic tour, so it's a smaller group. And I love that you can see the water tower pretty much from everywhere in this little section. Now they're also doing an event over here, which this thing is called Brownstone Street. Not gonna be able to go over to Brownstone Street, but that's over there. Also, he was saying over there on that corner was the movie Public Enemy. They had a shootout in that corner over there. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty dang cool. And just in case we can't go over there, what you're seeing in front is the window area from Casablanca. I hope we get to go over there. I really do, but I don't know if they're filming. Oh yeah, that's pretty neat. It looks so real, but it's just plastic.
I guess a lot of it was filmed here.
And Mildred Pierce.
Oh, cool, okay.
We just saw her outfit yesterday. Joan Crawford.
Mildred Pierce from 1945.
Yeah, Cody on.
In this soundstage.
Yeah, so MAME is 24 and 25, and they also filmed Anti-MAME in different sound stages. Yeah. Yeah, there's the big sleep. Our backlot today. Soundstage is almost 100% soundproof. They just have these red lights on the outside called wig wag. They flash those when they're filming just to kind of remind people to be quiet. And James Dean was notorious for driving around his motorcycle, and he would see those lights flashing and rev his engine on his motorcycle. He was making noise on purpose. Yeah, he was the rebel without a cause. Yeah. Yeah. So for the last 30 years or so, they've mostly been using this for sitcoms. So it went from Full House to Friends to Mike and Molly to Fuller House, and now it's a sitcom called United States of Al. But when you see where it says hot set, that basically means that it's all decorated, it's all ready to go, so they don't want the crew or anybody to touch anything. Yeah. Like moonlight or sunlight to make it seem like there's an outside when you're actually in the stage. Yeah. It's annoying. Right.
I just love this stuff so much.
So that was the first like Hollywood movie to be filmed in 3D. And that was kind of the Warner Brothers attempt to get people to leave their houses, basically, because TV was a new phenomenon.
Vincent Price.
And now it's sort of happening again. People are staying home watching stuff instead of going out to the theaters. So basically, House of Wax was not only in 3D, but it was in color and stereophonic sound. So it was a big deal at the time. The Warner Brothers were reluctant to get into TV shows. So that was 1953, but then by 1955, they made 3 TV shows. They made a Casablanca TV show, which didn't last very long, Western. And so after Cheyenne was a big hit, they kept making a lot of Western shows for quite a while. So to the right, this white building, guys, that's the House of Wax.
Oh, cool.
They're kind of with the they're kind of like carnival-looking thing there in the front.
Oh yeah, that's the theater.
And I just recently was watching the original version called Mystery of the Wax Museum. And it's almost shot for shot the same as the Vincent Price version. It's just the Vincent Price version is in 3D. And then, of course, they made it again with Paris Hilton. But we don't talk about that one, guys. No, I'm just kidding. But, so 3 different versions of House of Wax. Yeah, for a while there, I only thought it was those 2, but there was an original from the 30s, yeah. And then, let's see, this alleyway over to the right, this is where we saw Bette Davis in Deception.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We have her dress from that movie at the end of the tour. Since she and Joan Crawford hated each other, we put their costumes right next to each other. So Joan Crawford's is from a movie called The Damned Don't Cry, which is a great title. And then this movie theater to the right, you can see in Baby Jane, whatever happened to Baby Jane. Cool. So towards the beginning, this is where little Baby Jane is performing. It was also used in the Judy Garland Star is Born. It was actually used a couple times in that movie. A lot of the different, theaters where she'd be performing, it was used. Also used in 42nd Street, like you saw in the video. Clint Eastwood recently used it as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for Jersey Boys, so it gets used a lot. Really all they do is just kind of change the marquee to indicate whatever's supposed to be in there. Alright, so yeah, let's go check out another backlot here.
So awesome.
So this brown building over to the right was a bookstore in The Big Sleep. So that was another cool Humphrey Bogart movie that filmed out here. Yeah. He goes in there and he flirts with the woman that's running the bookstore, and then he goes across the street and flirts with a woman at a different bookstore. That movie's mostly just Humphrey Bogart going from woman to woman, flirting with all of them, and getting information. It was used in Casablanca, so straight ahead where it says coffee and espresso, that was the Cafe Pierre in Casablanca for one of the Paris flashbacks. And it was used the same year for the movie Now a Voyager with Bette Davis and Paul Reed. And Paul Reed was in both movies, and so was Claude Rains. So those movies are kind of fun to watch back to back because they use a lot of the same actors and a lot of the same sets. The only set they actually built for Casablanca was Rick's Cafe. So everything else to film these movies very quickly. Humphrey Bogart supposedly would walk around and talk to people and be like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever made about Casablanca. He'd be like, it's just some dumb romance that nobody's going to watch. So you never know what's going to become a hit, At the time, he was in his 3rd marriage with a woman named Mayo Mathot, which is a hard name to forget. And she basically would show up to the set unannounced and make sure he wasn't having an affair with Ingrid Bergman. And so he would just kind of play chess and be depressed on the set of Casablanca. And then eventually he left Mayo Mathot for Lauren Bacall, so I guess her concerns were valid, Yeah, I think she was 19 when he met her on To Have and Have Not, and he was in his 40s, yeah.
This is Town Square, Dukes of Hazzard.
A May-December relationship, yeah. Yeah. She's great, yeah.
They're doing some filming back here, or were?
Yeah, all 4 of their movies together were filmed on the lot, yeah. So this is Midwest Street, guys, so I want to take us over here. This is a very popular backlot that's basically designed to look like any small town from around the United States. So this is River City for The Music Man. If you're ever watching a movie or a show and you're is that the Warner Brothers town, look for the gazebo to the left because it's usually in the middle of the town. But in the case of The Music Man, they put a statue there. So the gazebo is removable. They'll occasionally put something else there. In addition to The Music Man, James Dean used it for East of Eden and also Rebel Without a Cause. And yeah, let me go ahead and just park us over here, guys. So we're going to go check out a couple of these houses. We can also walk around the town a little bit here. So the neighborhood to the right is called Kings Row, named after the Ronald Reagan movie. He actually made something like 38 movies here in a very short amount of time. These actors used to sign these 7-year contracts with one studio.
I love this church, Lost Boys Church.
So this church right here, guys, this was used in one of my favorite movies, Bones and Saddles.
Oh,
so this
Blazing
is where they
Saddles?
discussed finding a new sheriff in Blazing Saddles. It was also used at the end of the original movie.
Okay, that's interesting. You said this was the church from Blazing Saddles where they discussed finding the new sheriff? Interesting. I never realized. I knew Blazing Saddles was filmed here, but I didn't realize the Lost Boys Church was in Blazing Saddles. Okay, the station from Rebel Without a Cause, which you said I could walk over here, Hudson Hall, was also used in The Music Man. Yeah, iconic, Rebel Without a Cause. It looks a little bit different. And I'm not 100% sure if they use the interiors at all, but there is a scene where James Dean is right here on this porch. Oh, they're doing something inside there. Pretty awesome. And that looks like maybe from the remake of Full House right here. It looks like one of the painted ladies. Ah, it was a replica.
They all have kind of more modern nicknames. We call this the Seaver House because of growing pains. But this is where Sal Mineo lived in Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh,
and then
nice.
this is where Mrs. Deagle lived in Gremlins. So if you haven't seen the movie, she's like this really mean old lady that lives in the town. She goes flying out the window at one point. Lands on the front lawn. And Doris Day also used this house a lot. So she used it in a movie called It's a Great Feeling. She marries Errol Flynn in there in the movie. She used it in on Moonlight Bay, and then they made a sequel to that called By the Light of the Silvery Moon. So her family lived in this house for both of those films.
This house here was used in a Jimmy Stewart movie with John Wayne, where John Wayne goes to visit him. And then Jimmy Stewart and the Shootist got married in that church as well.
And these big air conditioning units, we saw those over on New York Street. Those are pumping air conditioning. Pretty cool, yeah. So yeah, Jimmy Stewart's house in the Shootist. Then he actually lived next door, and he's sort of the teacher on the show. And then this blue house is also where James Dean lived in East of Eden.
Oh wow, James Dean, East of Eden house inside here. I love all the James Dean history here. So this was used in Dukes of Hazzard as well.
Yeah, these are all factuals, yeah. This one's just kind of like a big living room. So you come through there. Came Uncle Jesse's house for like a reunion show in the 80s or the 90s, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, but Midwest was often used as like the town square for Hazard County, yeah.
That's funny, the back was Uncle Jesse's in the front of the same house as Boss Hogg's. That's hilarious for the reunion show. The guy was also saying in Blazing Saddles when the crane shot kind of goes up, revealing that you're Warner Brothers, it happened kind of right in here.
The Brockton Caves are up there as well, a series of caves that they use as Adam West Bat Cave. So that's on my bucket list to like hike up to the Hollywood sign and visit the Bat Cave while I'm up there and down. Yeah.
Also,
so they did like a
Walton's
reunion show
Mountain.
for the Waltons, and they've rebuilt the house over at the Burbank Ranch up the street. Yeah.
This was Walton Mountain. Griffith Park was Walton's Mountain. Pretty amazing to think about.
There's some of the squirrels I was talking about, guys, over there. So this is connected to our museum where you guys are going to be a little bit later, Stage 48. So from what I understand, before they built Stage 48, this was considered a practical, and they used this for Elvira's house, so when she inherits, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, yeah. This area looks a little different because they've added on the museum.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Let's see, this kind of brick house straight ahead. We call the Phoebe house because Phoebe Cates lived there in Gremlins, and then also Lisa Kudrow's dad lived there in Friends, so two Phoebes have used it. One of the earlier titles we used it for was a movie called The Bad Seed, about an evil little girl, Patty McCormick in the movie. So
Skip 13, so there is no stage 13. And then we split stages 27 and 28 in half. So we have a 27 and a 27A, and then a 28 and a 28A. So they count 27 and 28 as 4 stages technically. But oftentimes if you get one, you get both, but they're like split in half in the middle. So the numbering only goes up to 31, but we technically have 32 stages. And if we ever build a new one, we just kind of renumber them, basically. Yeah, I'm going to drive us back where Ellen used to be. Her stages are right by where like they all run out of the lot at the end of Blazing Saddles, and there's lots of cool stuff that's happened over there, yeah. If you guys have heard of the Star Wars Holiday Special, they filmed in the same stages as Ellen. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's because it's really bad over here. Yeah, well, like, hang on, let's get away from the noise here, yeah. Harrison Ford, whenever people would ask him about it, he'd be like, I don't even remember making it. And then Carrie Fisher said she used to put it on at parties to get people to leave. So it's like notoriously bad, yeah. Sounds like her, yeah. So I want to drive us through here, guys. This is our mill. So this is like, as I mentioned earlier. But then also we have like a metal shop up here to the right with like the lamp curving up. This is the air conditioning and plumbing room to the left. So it's 2 floors in the basement when Ellen hosted the Oscars. That's her red carpet ceremony, yeah. This is the prison where James Cagney got locked up in the movie. And then in Streetcar Named Desire, this is the warehouse where Carl Malden works.
Wow, okay.
So it comes in handy. Particularly loves the smokehouse as well. He recently used it for Jersey Boys and J. Edgar for a lot of the restaurant scenes in those movies, yeah. And from what I understand, George Clooney would go there like every day while he was making ER. So if you wanted to have a meeting with George Clooney, you'd have to go to the smokehouse. This is like 4 floors of props that can be rented out for production. It's basically 4 football field size worth of props. So similar to the mill, it's 3 floors where they all run out at the end of Blazing Saddles. This is kind of like the main entrance to the lot. There's different entrances, but you'll often see this as the entrance to Warner Brothers in our movies. In addition to Blazing Saddles, this is where Pee Wee Herman sneaks onto the lot in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. But yeah, in Blazing Saddles, if you go back and watch that scene, all the actors run out dressed like cowboys, and there's one guy in the shot who's just dressed normally. He's just a pedestrian who wandered into the shot. And Mel Brooks kept telling him, you gotta move, but he wouldn't move. He kept wandering back in, so Mel Brooks had him sign a contract saying you're gonna be in the movie. So he got to be a part of a classic comedy just by refusing to move, yeah. Stage 10, right here, is one of the original sound stages. When the Warner Brothers bought the lot, this stage was already here. This stage was built in 1926. So yeah, 10, 11, and then 12 and 14, those are the original 4 stages. 14 is being used for a new show called Shrinking, and for a while it was the Shameless stages. Alright, so as you can see, recently these were like Ellen had our offices. The Warner Brothers used to have their offices over here to the left. This was Jack Warner's old rose garden. He used to have a tennis court back here. And Errol Flynn, who was under contract here for a while, he would show up to set drunk, and Jack Warner would like ban him from the lot, and Errol Flynn would sneak back onto the lot and use Jack Warner's tennis court without his permission. So at one point, Jack Warner arranged to have it blown up for one of their movies. So I just want to drive us by stage 16, guys. So all these stages are the same size except for one. 15 over here to the right is a cool stage because this is where our art department used to be. So they used to like build sets in here and like draw all the storyboards. So we would do a lot of this crazy black. So this stage is the tallest sound stage in North America. The reason it's so tall is because of an actress named Marion Davies. So she was a very famous actress in the 1930s who was dating William Randolph Hearst, the billionaire. And so the second movie on that list, Cain and Mabel, that was a musical with her and Clark Gable. And the stories kind of conflict because it was so long ago, but basically she asked William Randolph Hearst if he would put up the money to have the stage lifted 30 feet off the ground for the musical numbers. And William Randolph Hearst, would do anything for her, and he had the money. So he put up $100,000. The crew literally lifted it 30 feet off the ground with hand cranks. So in addition to being almost 100 feet tall, it has a self-guided. So right as you go in, we've got a little Friends crazy in here, but there's other stuff in there besides Friends, I promise. You go into the museum and there's lots of cool costumes. We call it script to screen, so it kind of takes you from like the casting process to the production process to like the post-production process. We have a section that's specifically for classics, so we have like costumes for My Fair Lady. That's where we have Bette Davis and Joan Crawford's costumes right next to each other. James Cagney and Edward G. Robinson, we also have some costumes in there for them. So you guys can take as much time as you want here. Whenever you're ready to go, you go out through the gift shop straight ahead and go to where these folks are waiting. And you'll hop on a shuttle that will take you over to the tour building where we have a whole other exhibit. It's mostly like Harry Potter and DC Comics, but there's also lots of cool like costumes and like Oscars and Emmys that Warner Brothers has won over the years. And that will take you into the lobby and the gift shop where the tour started. So you guys still have a lot to see. Do you guys have any questions for me before you guys head on in there?
All right, we did it.
We did it.
The Classics tour.
I liked it better than the, well, both tours are different, but I liked it.
They are different.
I liked it better kind of just because it was different compared to the usual one.
Yeah, they kind of, you start off the same, you end the same. Didn't really show all the other things. You got the Harry Potter, the DC stuff, all that you see on all the versions of the tour. But he did cater it to the classics a lot more.
Yeah, I think what made it even better this time around compared to last time was right now a lot of shows are on hiatus. So we're able to go and walk around a lot of the sets and like the houses and everything because a lot of shows weren't filming compared to last time when they're using the whole area. So I think that was really cool. This is a good time I think to book a tour.
There were a few things that, like they had the Brownstone Street we couldn't go on, and I think there was the New York area.
There was like a private event.
We couldn't go into, but a lot of the stuff we got to see.
It was so cool.
Yeah, we got to go in more houses. Got to go on a soundstage we didn't go in last time. So I guess every tour is a little bit different.
Yeah, they filmed Jezebel on that stage and Mildred Pierce, and we just saw Mildred Pierce costumes yesterday at Academy Museums, which is really cool.
And while on there, that he was saying that there's a restaurant just outside that you've been trying to get me to go to for a while.
It is my favorite restaurant in Burbank. It's like one of the top 3 best meals I've ever had in LA.
What's the name of the place?
Smokehouse.
And just across the street from the Smokehouse, and next to Warner Brothers, and next to Walton's Mountain, Griffith Park, Hollywood signs on the other side of that, is this very noticeable sculpture, which was recreated identically at the former MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios. Which is pretty dang cool. It's right here next to Warner. It's almost like Smokehouse is ready for its close-up. That is so neat. I've been to MGM and Hollywood Studios so many times. I keep wanting to look over here for the Eisner quote about MGM Studios, a Hollywood that always was, or never was, and always will be. That's so neat. And just to show the proximity to Warner, walking across the way, fine food at a fair price. Oh, look at this, established 1946. Got the little fountain right here. And once you walk inside, definitely an old Hollywood vibe with all the photos of Burbank and Warner, and even photos of the Smokehouse, just a wide variety of old Hollywood stuff. Just the feels. I mean, this place has been open since the 40s. So you're getting the vibe, just think of how many probably famous faces, famous names, actors, directors, cast, crew have ate in here, and tourists, of course, have walked through these doors. I really like the theming with the booths and the posters on the side of the wall and everything. And I end up getting something I have not ever, I don't think I've ever eaten at a restaurant. Beef stroganoff. I've had the frozen version of beef stroganoff, but I never had a real version of beef stroganoff. It was pretty good. What'd you end up having?
I got the Smokehouse prime rib sandwich that they're famous for.
The prime rib.
If you come, you have to get the full order of the garlic cheesy bread. They're like famous for it. It's so good.
The garlic cheesy bread is, they do not go light on the cheese.
Nope. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, in all the booths, you feel like someone famous sat where you were sitting.
They probably did. Someone famous probably sat exactly in all these booths.
I love that.
And then the bar area is where the scene from La La Land took place. And there's like some paintings on the wall. There's also some famous photographs, almost kind of like how the Brown Derby was.
Yeah, I love that they have the actor chairs with all their signatures behind it. Yeah, it's so special.
And this old-timey building right here. It's a WB off in the distance. And that's going to do it for today. We have done a lot of movie tours, backlot tours.
I feel like we've seen all of Hollywood.
The only one we didn't do on this trip, we're not going to be able to do it on my trip this time, is Sony Pictures.
Yeah, we have to leave one.
Which used to be MGM back in the day. But we did VIP tour at Universal, saw the back lot of that.
Yeah. Paramount,
which you really like. So here, you were
Yeah.
talking how you like Paramount a lot. Did you like Warner Brothers as much as Paramount?
I still like Paramount.
Paramount?
I think Paramount's still the best.
Okay, Paramount #1, then
Top
Warner,
order.
then Universal?
Yes.
Makes
Exact
sense.
order.
There it is. Warner Brothers right over there. Hollywood made here. Also Walton's Mountain right there. And that's gonna do it for today. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog
It's over.